Hey, wait a second. You took 100. You took the 100. No, that's no. See, the $1. See, $1 for you. See, the George Washington? That's Benjamin Franklin. That's not happening. You got the wrong money. Can I have my money back? And you get.
All right, guys. For all you new people who've joined the train, this is the market analysis. Happens every Saturday. This is very valuable as I go over a bunch of stuff that has huge impact on the market, and it's necessary to have in the back of your head. So if you have half an hour of time during the weekend, try to watch these before the market opens, and then obviously I do daily recaps. I keep preaching about the 10-year yield, and if you don't know, the 10-year yield is the driver behind the stock market. Okay? Why is the stock market having some issues? Because we have a double top now. Once we went above this trend line in July, that's when the market started selling, and it's gone up and up and up and up and up, right? Okay, wonderful. I don't know why TradingView again has moved my trend line, which should be like that. There we go. If it goes over here, market's in big trouble. So as we see here, a pattern where they slapped it down, we should go down now for a relief bounce in the market. So this is obviously inverted mostly of the time to the stock market. However, if you're not familiar with the 10-year yield, if the 10-year yield is stable, like here, market can also go up. But when the 10-year yield is shooting up, market risk increases. Now, this week we saw market risk levels of 275. We closed at 273.6, so it's still there. If it goes above this high, puts are in play again. Now, I wouldn't trust Friday's price action too much, okay? Which is this here, because it was OPEX. What is OPEX? OPEX is when options expire, weekly, monthly, and then we have quad witching, which is also quarterly options, which is coming next month. Anyways, if you just joined us, that's the top. That's when we got bullshit Bank of Japan news, and we've been selling. This has been an extraordinary sell program, and we even played this wedge, and we had 2 days outside of it. But when the daily MAs are coming down that hard, it forces you to go lower. Okay? Anyways, so Friday we got that relief bounce. Nothing huge. We gapped down. We closed the gap, but once you go in, you can see a few very important things, right? We closed the gap. That's bullish. But what isn't bullish is this end. And, again, the last half an hour of OPEX is shenanigans, always. So we had these three tops. We had a false breakthrough, and then we slapped down, and we closed under intraday highs. Okay? That's never good. However, we did close the gap, which is bullish, and we closed for the first time higher than we started in, a long freaking time. Let me just put it that way. I think that was since Monday. So that's good. However, you look at this big picture, this still looks like a bear flag. Okay? What is a bear flag? Bear flag is we go lower. So the problem here is this. As with any chart, the bullish scenario on the 1 hour is that we did indeed close above the 9 MA, and that is some big green action. This relief bounce, look, I do not think that this is the time for us to recapture this uptrend line. I think the action the last few weeks is so strong and significant that we have a change in market trend. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me show everybody, especially new people. Look, I called bottom when SPY was 374, somewhere around here, when we had what's called the Dixie Death Cross. And I played it all the way up, and we had a pretty free. Once we broke out of the April here, we banked in May and June. We had good days in July too, but obviously after trading that for a while, it's a bummer that you have a trend change. So broad picture, this could be a head and shoulder. We could go and retest this daily 9, because it doesn't matter if it's a big time frame or a small time frame, market works in patterns. And that 9 is now under this uptrend line. So I would think if we have a relief bounce here in end of August, I'd be very careful playing any calls above 4440. Max this could go is like 4 to the 21. But I don't see this, this is not the time and the place for this to go do a double top at highs. We could get, a lower high and then come down. I do think that we're still, even though we had our sports calendar and it was tracking really well, what finally broke the camel's back with it was the 10-year yield, because it was tracking so well, but nothing can track well when you have a 10-year yield that's doing what it's doing. I do think that for next week, it'll be interesting to follow if we get more upside, because the chart does say relief bounce, right? This is a huge cluster level here. We still have no signal on the daily. Let's see if we find anything on the 4-hour. I mean, we got a D4 there. We already got a little bit of bounce. We'll see. The stow on the 4-hour does look like it could give some more. The MACD needs to curl more, and obviously the TTM still looks like absolute dog shit. However, again, let's jump on the Webull chart and we will see. As I pointed out in the last video last week, it's very rare. We haven't gone lower than an S2 since we had that giant sell-off here at the end of 22. And with that said, again, look, even with that bullish action on Friday, the RSI is still at 1388 on the daily. And it could go down to 9, but as you can see here, it's already under 2023 bottom levels. Okay, we still have those 22 levels there at 10, and then also sub 10. So this is starting to be oversold short term. Obviously the market is still way up high. I mean, it's above April levels. It's still holding May levels. We got there to the June lows, right? Let me double check that. Yeah. So what is that exact June low? Again, charts work in patterns. We caught that low. See? We caught that low. It would not surprise me whatsoever if we have a target next week of 4328. I'm gonna put an alert there because that's the June bottom. Can this serve? See, look, we caught this secondary June bottom. Okay, can it serve as a double bottom? Yes, but you kind of want to see that hold. Now, obviously on QQQ, SPY, all this, we did fill the gap. Now, I got a friend who's a really freaking good trader. He is really awesome, and it's always good to talk with him. He says, I mean, I don't know. He says that QQQ will not close under 357 this year. And I'm like, okay, dude, we'll see. Because, again, if we zoom in here, Okay, I know this is the daily, and now we're gonna have to jump on the 4-hour. But if you watch these videos, you will know that there's a gap. Okay, and did we fill that gap? It looks like we did, huh? The 1 hour. Sorry. There's still a really small gap there. Okay, did we get it? Okay, we might have caught it, because I mentioned we got to fill that gap right. And there's a fair value gap there. There could still be some small things there, but if we could get a big bounce here, that would be great. So what do we got coming up this week? We got Jackson Hole, we got the Fed. They're gonna dictate what happens to the financial world, the economy, everything, right? And if you've paid attention, you've known that they have been able to slam some pretty not so awesome FOMCs on us lately. However, Nvidia has always been there to save the market. Now, Nvidia has earnings this week, and the last time Nvidia, had earnings, it saved the market, and we banked over 1,000% on it, and the time before that as well. So, am I inclined to think that third time's a charm? Maybe. It all depends on the price action Monday, Tuesday. If we sell, and this stick here was just one of these, I would say Nvidia needs to save the market. Okay? But I'll be checking stuff. I would like to see another rebound here. As of right now, and you can write these down as well. Shit. As of right now, I have Monday early high, Tuesday early low, Wednesday early low, Thursday early high, Friday early low. Okay? Now let's watch the VIX again. We had big expiration on Wednesday. We got our double top, we overshot that, and then the VIX crashes on. So the VIX says to me, once this crosses, the VIX is going all the way back down with final destination of 1528. Okay, that means when the VIX goes down, we get bullish action in the market, and it sure looks like the hourly wants to continue down. The STO is down already, but the TTM wants lower, as does the MAs. Okay? Oil back up there, and as you know, when oil goes up and Dixie goes down, the market goes up. Problem here is, TradingView and their alerts are all over the place. Why am I getting an alert on Saturday? Come on. That's the 5 minute, came down nicely and then curled back up. Might be doing a cup, right? It's just consolidating here. I'll show you the bigger picture again. There's a trend line I have from that top when the proxy war started. Down here. Still can and most likely will do this pattern here. I'll draw it out for you, especially if you're new. This is called an inverted head and shoulders. Okay, see that? So chances are the Dixie should reject. I'm gonna put in an alert because I do not want it back over that daily high, because that invalidates the pattern, right? So I'm gonna put an alert there. So what you want to see here is pretty much the Dixie coming down while the 21 is coming up, and then meet somewhere here, and then it's probably going to reject. So this relief bounce we're going to get in the market might be short-lived. Obviously anything can change and anything can happen. However, seasonality-wise, again, we are looking at, September and October are always pretty shitty. Here's a 30 years future chart that we've played since, April with success, and it kind of failed us this week here because of the 10-year yield. But as you can see, September and October are volatile, choppy, not so awesome. And then you're going to get a giant center rally, which I still believe will happen because the elite want to have an exit liquidity move. Okay? The tick was very good on Friday. Now, obviously, Tesla has been beaten down about a third of its value in 2 weeks here since earnings, from 300 all the way down to 215. That would have been a pretty sweet ass move. I would be looking at it holding. First of all, it's gonna hold. Okay, I know that it lost its 50, but it's gonna hold its 100, right? And it will bounce soon. So again, that's my main watch, especially if for whatever reason they pause, or if they mention a rate cut next year or whatever, the market's gonna go freaking haywire next week. So don't get like married to we're only getting a relief bounce. If they say rate cut, if they even mention the words rate cut in 2024, this market's gonna take it and run with it. Okay, so that's always a possibility. Again, regarding futures, we've been absolutely killing it, watching China and watching the UK, playing ES. Again, could be some type of weird head and shoulders pattern, but nevertheless. QQQ has been beaten down so hard that I think any relief bounce will be tech driven. I always show you the NAMO, and I had said before we got this bounce that this is looking really much like a scenario here, like in March, and you see what happened, and it's kind of looking like it. And when the NAMO bounces, you usually get a substantial move. So there's definitely a option for a big relief bounce. And the flow would suggest the same. This is the first time in weeks. You see this convergence here? Okay. This is the first time in weeks we've seen this. We've seen a lot of calls come in, even though, the GEX magnet is only 435. That can change intraday. But this is definitely, you could see that it was OPEX. They've been selling for 2 weeks, so the risk is not to short in the hole. It's definitely maybe load up on some calls. Now, if you want a long swing idea, I would suggest you pick, not that I am I'm very against these companies on a personal level, but if you want to make some money and you want to buy some leaps, buy some of these freaking backseat stocks, man, because obviously at some point they need to blame their failed economic policies on something. And, I'm seeing, the sniffles in the news again, when kids go back to school and, it's fall and it gets colder and people, throughout time have gotten colds, now they're pushing their, new booster that's going to get, see, it even says there, top flow J&J, so they're going to push that. And fact of the matter is, people who are still eating the hay would love that shit, because to them that means, they can go back being a victim and getting free money from the lovely government. Unless you live in Hawaii, then you only get $700 if your whole house was burned down. And if it wasn't, and you're in the area, you're still getting evicted. I suggest everybody stick a Ukrainian flag in their front lawn. We've covered that with extent. Now, if that does happen, the best stock to buy, who has a previous high of 588, that is now $66, would be Zoom. Okay? So how do you do that? You buy some leaps, you buy some options for next year that are at the top of the chain, and you forget about them. And you, if they run that script, you make a lot of money. LMT, we're coming up on this dividend payment, so we should see some action. Okay, as you can see, after it pops. Okay, same here, but we'll see. I do think that with all the money that's being sent to the Ukraine, so that no one can ever win anything at all, and get doused in Tide and fabric softener and sent back to DC, we should see some action here for these earnings. So we're gonna play that. Now, what did we see on Friday? For the first time in a long time, we saw our beloved shitty stocks from June get action. I mean Hood. I mean PayPal. I know Shane caught PayPal, took a shower, came back and posted holy shit in the chat what happened. So congrats, Shane. That's awesome. I posted and I'm in them. Again, shitty stocks, Unity. Why do we love Unity? For all you new people, why do we love Unity? Because among Unity and UPST, we played this whole thing, right? Remember this 4-hour trend line here? Every time it got here, we'd bank. Every time we got here, we'd bank. So the 38 calls, if we do get a tech rebound for next week, I mentioned that they were what, 17 or 18 cents. I grabbed some. They could be, it could have a possible NVIDIA move. And for everyone, how does Unity play? Unity, you have to swing Unity, or you have to buy it right at open, because Unity has a huge candle at open, and then it does that. And just showcase what I mean here, same thing here, out of the gate. Every time it pops, it's literally at open. So you kind of have to be sitting in Unity, or you will not. Look at this candle here, from 44 all the way to 46, straight out the gate. Again here, same thing, right out the gate, boom. So that's how you play Unity. You have to sit in it, and then you have to sell it, and you have to be very disciplined with not thinking that it will go higher, because you're gonna get slapped to shit. Okay, and they will destroy your contracts, and you will think you're, why didn't I take profit? Okay, that's how you play Unity. Google, in this whole sell-off, if you look after earnings, boom, it hasn't really sold off. We saw this week it started selling off a little. However, it is actually, out of all of these stocks, looking here like it wants to go higher. So keep Google on watch. Again, Google is the same thing, pops out of the gate. UPST, part of the shitty stocks, also on Friday finally saw some action. Could all be OPEX related, trappy action. Carvana, same thing. So, which one also belongs to them? Our beloved SQ, also known as Block. Same thing. So, obviously, Hood, SQ, Beyond Meat, PayPal, Carvana, Unity, they all run in tandem. A big fish plays them at the same time, okay? So keep that on watch. Post in the chat if you see anything. This is the most hilarious chart I've seen. After that big pop, it's given everything and more back. Crypto not doing so good right now. Apple had a pretty strong Friday, and also after hours, we saw some buying. Fill that elusive gap finally this week that we were talking about that took forever. Apple's 1 hour chart looks super bullish. We have a crossover, everything. I would think, if like with any chart, you kind of want a double bottom. Okay, so that's why I'm not pulling out the bull horns and slapping them on my forehead yet. Plus we got such a big week. Okay, big picture still, since just before. Excuse me, still not 100% as you can hear. As before, Look, all of this is flow based. That's why you see on, I showed you on the options here. Okay, what's the difference between flow and dark pool? Okay, look. Flow option contracts. Over half of the volume on SPY and QQQ and SPX now, because of zero DTEs, zero date expiration option contracts. So half of the volume, or 55% of the volume, is flow. Okay, right? It's option contracts. Get it? So here you can see how they drove up the price with that. But the actual engine under the hood is dark pool. What's dark pool? Dark pool is half of the stock market is traded outside of the market in huge blocks. Okay, dark pool. So as you can see, they have not freaking bought anything since July highs here. They started selling a few days before the Bank of Japan bullshit news. And you see we had that ghost candle down to there, held a few days, boom, there we go. Same here, we got a ghost candle here, up to there, boom, hit, and then we've just been selling. So you see they haven't bought anything at all since then. Now, this must have come in after hours because I have not seen it. It's not, I don't know if this here is real or not. It doesn't really look like it is. Let me double check here on a different one. Sometimes you have to double check these because systems do glitch. Okay, it is showing it. All right, that would be a substantial after hours buy. Substantial. It's not on Q's. Is it showing up? Yeah, okay, so that's real. That is a huge game changer because you can see they have not bought any SPY dark pool at all. It only shows up on the 15-minute though. So let's not get. Oh no, well, it's on the 1 minute. All right, that's huge. That could be the bottom right there. And this is why I look at this stuff. This is also why you're on the moon train. No one else looks at this stuff. Okay, this is substantial. That there's a huge dark pool buy here from, you know, that's big. All right, great, fantastic. Okay, now just to wrap this video up, where is he? Friday, absolutely freaking killed Nvidia. I'll show you how. Okay, so usually I trade on the 5-minute. Okay, and we had this initial balance. Okay, and I have that on to see the range. Okay, I got a buy signal here. Okay, but the TTM was still red. Stow was going up. Stow front runs the move. Okay, always. This is the least lagging indicator is the Stow RSI. MACD lags. You can see the difference here. Boom, from there to there. So obviously on a day the market needs a driver. If it's not the 10-year yield or the DXY or the VIX, it needs to clamber onto something. And what we've seen is they rotate, and it was pretty apparent to me if anything was going to go, it was going to be chips. Okay, because chips, we got big earnings next week. All right, and this is what I did just because of futures. I trade futures on the 3-minute. So once this crossed here and this looked good and I saw this flip here, I jumped on it. I used the same setup that we're going to be using in the 5% challenge. Okay, and if it works on the 3-minute, you check, oh, we got it here. So then I held, and once we had no problem going through this previous floor, turned resistance, because I have the buy and sell on, right? Once we got through there and we made a new floor that held, because we got a buy signal here, usually I would sell here, okay, but I held, and boom, the rest is history. I did roll up here though. Remember, I was in the 420s and 425s, and then I jumped on the 430s. Okay, that is because I love this setup. And once you are outside of the initial balance zone, again, once we cracked that, I was like, okay, I'm going for that. Once we held here and we were still going up, I just decided, freaking, I'm gonna hold. It's Friday OPEX, this can get crazy, which it did. Plus, let's not forget, you have to look at premiums. I mean, these went from 6 cents to $4.85, okay, or something insane like that. So you have to look. SPY's not gonna do that. I've caught this year, I've caught 1,000% on SPY twice only, both on Fridays. So I always look for it, but it's very rare. But these, Nvidia can move, and Nvidia didn't even go green, okay, but it had a day. So that's why I held. The setup with the crossover looked good. I never even looked at the 1 hour chart, which I should have, but I mean, that is very, very bullish. But see this move, had I held the 420s, that would have been 2,000%. Imagine what this move was. But this was Monday, and what happens is, if you don't catch that Monday move, which I didn't, you're gonna be chasing that move for days. All premiums are killed, and then boom, you get that move. So that's why I took it, because the 5-minute buy signal held the low of the initial balance. As you see, it held it. Okay, it started chugging up. I flipped to the 3-minute. Boom, I got a crossover. Awesome. Holding it. Got a buy signal. This has flipped. This didn't make me nervous, sure, but the market was looking pretty strong early on there. Where was it? It wasn't like cratering as it has. So that influenced me holding it. But yeah, it worked out great. Obviously not bulletproof, but it worked out tremendously well. So I'm happy to have that under the belt, and it did actually clock in another top 5 of the year. Anyways, I'm going to be posting another video about the challenge specifically, and if you want to do the math, you take the sum times 1.05, you take that sum times 1.05. It's called compounding. It's not interest, it's compounding the gains, okay? And if you do it right, by day 100 you'll arrive at 138,000, okay? Are you gonna put in 138,000 for a 5% gain into the stock market? I don't think so, but the point is to nail this pattern, because this is my favorite pattern. It's made me the most amount of money by far. It also works in reverse, but I like playing it to the upside. Okay, love yourself, love your family, God bless. See you all on Sunday for futures, and I'll post more about the challenge in another video in that chat. God bless.